On this episode of Skills of Nicole, we review study methods. In this video, we're going to look at some different study methods that you can use when you're studying for your finals or midterms or whatever's coming up for you. All of these kind of methods, if you've studied them, I find like if you study with these methods, you will be able to remember everything that you studied. So really the biggest issue is whether or not you actually study the right things. So I hope that you guys find this video helpful. So when I study, I tend to read my textbooks, which is very helpful. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go through and you're going to want to highlight everything that you find is very important. If you're highlighting the whole textbook, that probably means you're missing the point. You got to just highlight what's important so that it's easier when you go back to just pick out points that are very important, and then you can just build your notes on that. The other thing I tend to do is when I used to take notes by paper, which I'm sure a lot of you probably still do, is I would go through and I would take two highlighters and I would go through and I'd highlight all my definitions with one, and I'd highlight all the side points, like I guess the word is in one and the definitions in the other. And any big titles go in this color, and any of the side points will go in this color for anything else. So that's really helpful because then later on when you're going back, you have it right there like that. So the third and probably one of the more important things that I do is I'll go through with my notes now and with my textbook, and I will make cue cards. Usually I use actual cue cards, but I kind of ran out, so I have my post-it notes instead today. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all of my notes, and anything that's in orange here, I'm going to make a note of. And then on the back of each post-it note, I'm going to write anything that's in the yellow. So that way, then I have all of my little post-it notes already ready. So then we proceed on to the next step. Now, a lot of you, if you've already studied a lot, you probably have already gotten to that step. You've probably done it quite a few times. But it's the reviewing of the cards that's really unique for me. So basically what I do is I have, let me find it here. I have 5 categories that I divide my cards up into. 5 is the hardest and 1 is the easiest. So with 5, what you're going to want to do is when you go through your cue cards and you don't really know the answer, you're going to want to put it in 5 if you couldn't figure it out on your own and you had to flip it over. But if you know it completely, there was no way that there was ever a problem, you put it in 1. So basically what you're going to want to do is anything in 5, you're going to want to review the most. That's something key to keep in mind. So you're going to put something in 5 that you don't really know, and then you're going to review it the most out of everything. And that way then you'll remember it. And as you go along, if you remember something that was in pile 5, then you're going to want to put it in pile 4. And then after that, you're going to want to put it in pile 3. So each time you look at it, it'll move down, depending on whether or not you've actually got it. Don't move it down unless you actually have understood the concept. So on number 5, what I tend to do is I go through a few cue cards, let's say 3 to 5 cue cards, and if they all end up in number 5, then I stop there, and then I start going through each cue card in number 5 until it starts moving to number 4. Then I'll go back and I'll start my cue cards again. And if I start getting too many in number 5, then I stop and I go through number 5 and move on to number 4. Somewhere, though, while you're reviewing your cue cards, you're going to want to stop and go through number 4 or number 3. You're supposed to be reviewing number 5 the most, number 4 next, then number 3, then number 2, then number 1. Number 1, you're barely ever going to look at again. You're going to look at it probably once or twice in your whole study session, whereas number 5, you're going to want to look at those every couple cards because these are really hard concepts for you. Eventually, after you've gone through this whole thing and gotten everything into number 1, that means that you're finally at the end. So now I'm going to show you guys a little example of my studying. Anyways, I hope that was very useful to you guys, and good luck with your studying. And if you'll excuse me, I'll get back to my studying now.